Everything was on the line. The game was tied. The pressure was suffocating, and then history happened. What we witnessed wasn't just an overtime period. It was a full-blown explosion of dominance. A performance so unreal it shattered playoff records and left everyone, fans, players, coaches, staring in disbelief. Because in this moment, one player didn't just rise to the occasion. He took over in a way that the NBA had never seen before. Overtime in the NBA playoffs is a different beast. The fatigue is brutal, the crowd's roaring, every possession is magnified, and the stakes are season-defining. Most players try to survive overtime, but on May 1st, 2023, one man didn't just survive, he thrived. Jimmy Butler and the Miami Heat were locked in a second-round playoff battle against the Milwaukee Bucks, a team that had finished with the best record in the league. On paper, this was supposed to be Milwaukee's series, but Jimmy had other plans. After a grueling fourth quarter, the game went into overtime. That's usually when things slow down. Defenses tighten, legs give out. But not Jimmy. With just 5 extra minutes on the clock, he launched into an all-time heater, scoring 22 points in the overtime period alone. That's the most points scored in a single overtime in NBA playoff history. Let that sink in. 22 points in 5 minutes. That's the kind of scoring rate you see in NBA 2K with sliders turned all the way up. And what made it even crazier was the context. This wasn't some random early season game. This was win or go home. The Heat had clawed their way through the play-in just to get here, and now they were trying to knock off the top seed in the entire league. Jimmy came out with a purpose. First, it was a mid-range pull-up smooth, then a baseline drive through contact, then a step-back three. Suddenly the Bucks' defense was scrambling. Holiday, Lopez, Middleton, none of them had answers. It felt like every possession ended the same way. Butler getting to his spot, rising with confidence, and knocking it down. But what truly made this performance special wasn't just the stats, it was the feel. You could sense it. The arena was tense, the Bucks were stunned, the announcers didn't know what to say. It wasn't just dominance, it was a takeover in real time. And this isn't a guy known for volume scoring. Jimmy Butler has always been a tough, gritty player who does a bit of everything. But in this moment, he morphed into a pure assassin, efficient, relentless, inevitable. One possession, he gets doubled spins away from it, draws a foul, finishes, and won. Next trip down, they try to trap him at half court. He splits it, gets to the rim again. Over and over, he broke down the Bucks like a puzzle he already solved. And the Heat, they followed his lead. On defense, they locked in. On offense, they just got Jimmy the ball and got out of the way. The overtime didn't feel like a team duel. It felt like a one-man wrecking crew, a superstar putting his fingerprints all over the moment. Now let's take a step back. 22 points in overtime. To put that into perspective, most teams don't even score 22 and a quarter during the playoffs, let alone one player in 5 minutes. In fact, prior to this performance, the record was held by Stephen Curry, who once dropped 17 in an overtime playoff game. That record stood for years until Jimmy shattered it. And the best part, he wasn't chucking. He wasn't forcing bad shots. This was pure control. Like a surgeon picking apart a defense with complete poise. Every bucket felt calculated. Every move looked rehearsed. You could see it in his eyes. He knew he couldn't be stopped. But this wasn't just about numbers or history. This was about tone setting. Jimmy Butler's overtime barrage didn't just win the game, it sent a message. That the Heat weren't backing down. That this underdog team had a star who could take over any moment and flip the script. and that if you gave them even a sliver of a chance, they'd bury you. This wasn't just one of the best OT performances in playoff history. This was the best. And the scariest part? It felt like Jimmy had more left in the tank. In the next section, we'll break down how this legendary overtime stacks up against other greats, the tactical decisions that let it happen, and what it means for the legacy of both Butler and the modern NBA playoff landscape. But just remember this, on that night, in that moment, Jimmy Butler was the game. When Jimmy Butler dropped 22 points in a single overtime, he didn't just break a record, he cracked open a conversation about what greatness under pressure really looks like. Because overtime isn't just about skill, it's about mentality. And Jimmy's mindset? Unshakable. Let's look deeper into what made this performance so historic. First off, we need to understand